पाकिस्तान में तलाक के मसले से लेकर वाईफाई के इश्यूज तक फेमिनिज्म पे ब्लेम होता है।
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
क्यों है ऐसा? क्या इज दैट अ इजी गो टू?
जो काम आपने ना करना हो उसके लिए आप इंशाल्लाह कह देते हैं कि अल्लाह की मर्जी होगी तो होगी, वैसी फेमिनिज्म है।
On the whole, do you think Pakistanis lack professionalism?
Not all of them.
Not, of course, not all of them.
Yeah.
But by and large, you would say that we're a very unprofessional sort of a nation.
I think we're a different kind of professional nation.
We are differently able.
Yes.
Oh my God, you can't say that. क्या आर्टिस्ट ऑनेस्ट हो सकता है?
आर्टिस्ट बहुत ऑनेस्ट होता है। अगर वो ऑनेस्ट ना हो तो शायद वो प्रैक्टिस कंटिन्यू ना कर सके अपनी।
बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट तो ये भी कहते हैं कि what they're producing is nothing more than an illusion.
It's always an illusion.
क्या पाकिस्तानी मर्द इमोशनली ऑनेस्ट होते हैं? क्या उन्हें रोने की इजाजत है?
मेरी नज़र में तो उनको रोने की ज़रूरत है।
ज़रूरत है?
जी।
अरे मुझे भी जाके मैं यहाँ से करना शुरू करता। Is Pakistan hostile towards female artists?
80% of the population is female.
जी।
But when they all graduate, I see the females generally not practicing.
क्या आपका इशारा इस तरफ है कि वो शादियां कर लेती हैं घर बैठ जाती हैं?
Social pressure, yeah.
ये डॉक्टर्स के साथ भी होता है हमारे?
बिल्कुल होता है।
हमारी ट्रेन पायलट्स के साथ भी होता है?
जी जी।
जुल्म नहीं है?
बिल्कुल जुल्म है।
लेकिन ये सासू माँ का हुक्म है घर बैठे बच्चे संभाले।
तो यही तो मसला है ना। सासू माँ खुद भी तो एक खातून है, उनको उनकी तरफ से अगर ये आ रहा है तो जरा
मतलब आपने लिटरली मुझे कह दिया सास भी तो कभी बहू थी।
बिल्कुल ये था।
देखिए जी, मैं अपने अंकल से मिल चुका हूँ, उन्होंने कहा कि आजकल बच्चे बकवास ही इसलिए करते हैं कि सोशल मीडिया है।
हमारे बच्चे आजकल अंग्रेजी ज़्यादा बोलते हैं, उर्दू बोलना भूल जाते हैं शुरू के सालों में, उनको उर्दू सिखानी पड़ती है।
देखिए जी, पाकिस्तानी ड्रामों में जितनी औरतों पे कलेक्टिव जुल्म हो चुका है ना, मेरे ख्याल में वो सब बख्शी जा चुकी हैं अब तक तो। अभी वो तो अगले जहान में इतना अजर मिलना है कि इसका हिसाब ही कोई नहीं।
अल्लाह की कसम। और मैं तो यही सोचती रहती हूँ कि यार मतलब इसके अलावा कोई और स्टोरी लाइन नहीं दिखती।
क्या पाकिस्तान की मोरालिटी फियर बेस्ड है? हम इस बात पर परेशान रहते हैं कि लोग क्या कहेंगे?
Has historically not really worked in your favor and you still continue doing it. तो उसमें हम नहीं सोचते कि लोग क्या कहेंगे। So I think it's kind of a give and take.
क्या पाकिस्तान की सबसे बड़ी गैलरी इंस्टाग्राम ही है?
नहीं, दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी गैलरी इंस्टाग्राम है।
ये मजहबी जमातों को आप लोगों के आर्ट पे क्या एतराज होता है?
मैं भी जानना चाहती हूँ।
मगर कुछ ना कुछ तो कहा होगा कभी ना कभी किसी आपसे कि भाई एतराज क्या है आर्ट पे?
I don't think कि मजहब का आर्ट से कोई टकराव होता है कभी भी। In fact, मजहब promotes beauty.
Ms. Saulat Ajmal, one of the most thoughtful visual artists in Pakistan. You did an undergrad from New York and your master's from Virginia. इस वक्त जो है नेशनल कॉलेज ऑफ आर्ट्स के अंदर पढ़ा रहे हैं एंड अ पार्ट ऑफ योर टीचिंग आइडिया इज टू पुश यंग आर्टिस्ट टू थिंक क्रिटिकली। आपके फ्रेंड्स ने जो रिकमेंड किया था फॉर दिस पॉडकास्ट उन्होंने मेरे बारे में 3 वर्ड्स दिए थे। उन्होंने कहा था जी यू आर fearless, straightforward and honest. तो जी will you be honest with me today?
I tried not to be.
Let's talk about art itself. How would you explain abstract art to a child?
Well, abstraction in itself is not everyone's forte, except everyone has done it at some point in their life growing up.
क्या मतलब जी? Done something like that.
It's free expression. It's something where you can draw the sun the way you understand the sun. You can draw a chair the way you understand a chair.
देखिए जी, मैं तो बड़ा ही बोधा आदमी हूँ। मैंने बचपन से लेकर आज तक सन को हमेशा एक सर्कल बनाया और उसके अंदर येलो कलर फिल कर दिया।
लेकिन एक टाइम था जब आपको सर्कल बनाना नहीं सिखाया था किसी ने।
Right.
उससे पहले जो है वो आप एक्सपीरियंसेस जो है वो ड्रॉ करते थे, आप रंगों के साथ खेलते थे।
Right.
You know, without inhibitions, without end goals.
ठीक।
And that was basically where you can understand or connect with abstraction on a very basic level, because that's your understanding of the world around you.
Without an end goal.
Without an end goal, without an end goal to imitate.
आपका एक काम है जी हार्ट ऑफ डार्कनेस।
Yeah.
Why did you pick that? It's a very important work.
Thank you for asking that question, because it's you know, the way as I said, abstraction works is how you experience things, you know. And when I was asked to create a work of art on the environmental crisis that we're going through, it was specifically done for a show which was about what the environment is going through right now, in my own way. That is how, you know, the speed of the mark making and the kind of marks that came across were kind of born on canvas.
And you think the environment is going towards the heart of darkness? Is that doom and gloom?
Unfortunately. Unfortunately, yes. I mean, we are trying on the other end to raise awareness and do things that are not going to let this happen too soon. But unfortunately, we know what the Industrial Revolution's done. We know where the world is going, so can't deny it.
Chale, let me ask you this. Is there an emotional cost to pay for being a visible female artist in Pakistan?
Actually, I wouldn't say there's an emotional cost. There is an emotional toll because it comes with a little bit of responsibility.
You realize Miss Tolls have to be paid.
Yes, but it's, it's paid in ways which you don't see coming. It's like, because I'm also teaching, upcoming generations, upcoming female and male artists. So because, the gender disparity kind of stops at me being a female. When I teach without, seeing what the gender in front of me is, but their gender concerns do come to me, So being able to let them expand their horizons, I guess that's a responsibility that comes with being a female artist, because they also box you. You don't just box other people, they're also boxing you.
Gender concerns नजर आते हैं इस वक्त पाकिस्तान के art world?
Art world experienced or art world in the student body?
Both.
Student body is very progressive these days, but they're also stuck in what the societal concerns are, the propagandas are, social media is in their hands now, they don't have to wait for the 9.
ये मुझे बता दीजिए कि आजकल के दौर में भी आर्टिस्ट को कोई बुरी नजर से देखते हैं?
Oh, जी.
क्यों? सन 2025 स्टार्ट चुके हैं हम. I mean, where are we stuck? हम क्या अभी तक 18वीं सदी में रह रहे हैं?
देखिए, आर्टिस्ट जो है ना, वो बड़ी लूज कॉम होती है. वो जो उनका दिल चाहता है वो कह देते हैं.
hold on. क्या मतलब लूज कॉम होती है? क्या वो लगा रहे हैं आर्टिस्ट पे?
अपने आप को मद्देनजर रखते हैं, फिक्र ना करें.
ठीक, हाँ जी, हम सब बिल्कुल जी, हम सारे
जैसे कि आपने मुझे कहा ना, fearless and outspoken and बिल्कुल, और ये अच्छी बातें नहीं होती हैं. आपको बहुत संभले हुए अल्फाज इस्तेमाल करने चाहिए, which artists are generally not known for doing.
ठीक है.
So in that way, there.
Kanye West भी artist है.
बिल्कुल.
The words he uses have been, controversial to say the least.
Absolutely.
मगर क्या हमारे artists, you think they're more careful?
Oh yes, of course they have to be, but they're also more suggestive in terms of what their concerns about their art are. I mean, but they have to be careful, especially if you're making controversial, topics के ऊपर काम. So you have to be very careful about how you project the work, especially in our society. So you have to be careful.
देखिए, there are certain topics which are rather safe. अगर आप environment के ऊपर बात करते हैं, nobody's going to say कि आप गलत बात कर रहे हैं. अगर आप oil companies के against को painting बनाते हैं, बहुत कम chance. In fact, probably कोई chance है oil companies से खरीद ले, क्योंकि we are so good about it.
जी.
क्या artist honest हो सकता है?
आर्टिस्ट बहुत ऑनेस्ट होता है. अगर वो ऑनेस्ट ना हो तो शायद वो प्रैक्टिस कंटिन्यू ना कर सके अपनी, क्योंकि you've got to live with your art in your studio alone. That's how you make art. Art is not, it's a very lonely life when you're actually producing art. So you have to be honest. Unless you have the ability to live a very scripted life, even for yourself, artist doesn't have a choice but to be honest.
मगर देखिए जी, बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट तो ये भी कहते हैं कि what they're producing is nothing more than an illusion.
It's always an illusion.
तो फिर illusion सच कैसे है?
Illusion का कहीं ना कहीं तो basis होता है, कोई foundation होता है. That foundation is what you believe in. So anything that's on the wall, even if it's an imitation of something otherwise, it's still an illusion. It's not the actual thing.
क्या आर्टिस्ट अपने आप को सेंसर भी करते हैं?
बिल्कुल करते हैं. I mean, you have to be able to censor some areas of your concerns, and that doesn't mean that you don't express it in other ways. But when there's a difference between seeing and experiencing, and there's a difference between saying and really pushing it onto your art. There are two different ways of seeing art.
Is Pakistan hostile towards female artists?
No. Pakistan is not hostile towards female artists. I think our general norms need to change a lot more quickly. Because, when I teach at NCA, okay, and I've taught at other universities, and 80% of the population is female. But when they all graduate, I see the females generally not practicing. And I think that's where... Social pressure, yeah. Because...
ये डॉक्टर्स के साथ भी होता है हमारे.
बिल्कुल होता है.
हमारी ट्रेंड पायलट्स के साथ भी होता है.
जी.
जुल्म नहीं है.
बिल्कुल जुल्म है. That's why I said Pakistan is not hostile towards art. It's just got to change its approach, social approach towards women's role in society.
is a suggestion कि शादी करे ही ना.
Shadi is not the issue.
Okay.
It's the expectations that come from, what a shadi-shuda girl needs to do. Like, why is it not her choice?
लेकिन ये सासू माँ का हुक्म है घर बैठे बच्चे संभाले.
तो यही तो मसला है ना. सासू माँ खुद भी तो एक खातून है. उनको उनकी तरफ से अगर ये आ रहा है तो जरा मुश्किल
मतलब आपने लिटरली मुझे कह दिया सास भी तो कभी बहू थी.
बिल्कुल ये था. लेकिन सास अब जो है वो उसको रिपीट क्यों करना चाहती है? It's not just about सास, it's about all over. It's not about the सास, it's the girl's own family a lot of times. That'll say that you can't be doing this because, you're upsetting people.
लेकिन ये सासू माँ का फिगर तो मैंने वैसे ही यूज किया as
जी क्लीशे है, लेकिन बात ये है कि सिर्फ वो बेचारी कसूरवार नहीं होती, It's just the idea of expectations.
What's the toughest part about living in Pakistan? रिश्तेदार?
No, not at all. I mean, not in my case.
Okay.
I think for me, because it's a comparative kind of situation, because I've lived about 16 years in the US.
Right.
When I moved here, the biggest difference was the approach to professionalism and meritocracy. Because the US was very straightforward in terms of how do you go up the ladder. You work hard, you do well, and that's how you... Over here, it's a little complicated. And that, for me, was very difficult to understand.
When you say complicated, let's be honest, are you talking about connections?
I'm talking about not just connections, but I'm also talking about the way you work. The way... If I have to get a simple paper stamped, my God, the levels of bureaucracy that it has to go through.
मगर जी वो तो अंग्रेजों की देन है ना जी, वो तो छोड़ के गए, हमने कहा कि हमने उन्हें भी स्टैंप पे लगानी है.
जी अल्लाह का शुक्र है, लेकिन हमने उनको नहीं छोड़ा ना, उन्होंने तो हमें छोड़ दिया. So वो अमेरिका के बाद यहाँ पे ये जरा जो है ना वो major struggle है. Connections का मसला नहीं है, because that's an understatement. It's the bureaucracy that frustrates you.
So the biggest frustration about living in Pakistan is dealing with the bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy and professionalism, or lack thereof.
On the whole, do you think Pakistanis lack professionalism?
Not all of them.
Not, of course, not all of them. Yeah. But by and large, you would say that we're a very unprofessional sort of a nation.
I think we're a different kind of professional nation.
We are differently able.
Yes.
Oh my God, you can't say that. Ji.
Well, you said it, not me. Because, listen, I mean, we know how things work. Meritocracy is not the only thing that'll get you ahead in life.
चलें, let's talk about the social situation है. ये मजहबी जमातों को आप लोगों के आर्ट पे क्या एतराज़ होता है?
मैं भी जानना चाहती हूँ.
मगर कुछ ना कुछ तो कहा होगा कभी ना कभी किसी आपसे कि भाई एतराज़ क्या है आर्ट पे उनको?
नहीं जी, उनको हमारी एक तो ये कि lack of exposure is what kills us the most. I don't think कि मजहब का आर्ट से कोई टकराव होता है कभी भी. In fact, मजहब promotes beauty. But the problem comes in when the people who are the flag bearers themselves are not exposed to what art can be, what all it can be. So if you try and use art as propaganda, you'll accomplish that. But if you try and see it as a breath of fresh air, you'll accomplish that. With us, I think the majority, what we call religious or, people of faith, I think they're also misunderstood in saying कि यार art सारे बुरा है.
देखिए जी, मैं कुछ मज़हबी जमात लोगों से मिला था, उन्होंने कहा था कि उन्हें आर्ट पे एतराज़ नहीं, उन्हें सिर्फ उस आर्ट पे एतराज़ है जो कि इस्लाम की खिदमत में नहीं हो रहा.
जी.
क्योंकि काफ़ी सारा आर्ट है जो इस्लाम की खिदमत में है. काफ़ी पोस्टर्स बनते हैं, काफ़ी म्यूजिकल प्रोग्राम्स भी होते हैं इस्लाम की खिदमत में. देयर ऑल ओके. बट ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर कोई सेकुलर सब्जेक्ट्स को टच करने की कोशिश कर रहा है,
जी.
इट बिकम्स अ प्रॉब्लम.
Sure. I mean, everyone's got their approach and opinions, but listen, in that case, how is capitalism serving our faith? Like the thing is, art is a visual thing. When you see it, it's easier to point fingers at it. When you don't have a tangible thing in front of you, it's harder to point fingers at it. However, this is how I see it. It's just an easy target.
And sculptures are easier to smash.
Oh, brilliant. They are just so easy to smash, and there's a history of, venerating the idea of smashing sculptures and how, good that was in a religious setting. It's just misunderstood on so many levels.
आपको लगता है कि ये सिचुएशन चेंज हो रही है? मज़हबी जमातों को खासा अभी कुट पन के उन्होंने ज़रा नीचे भी किया है रिसेंट टाइम्स. जो बैंड पार्टीज उनको मुकम्मल तौर पे बैन करने की कोशिशें की जा रही है.
Pata nahi ji, I'm not very political, but I can tell you that times keep changing. There's no one set direction. It's there are highs and lows constantly, given our history.
चलो, let me ask you this. Morality क्या है पाकिस्तान में और कौन डिसाइड करता है?
Morality. Well, I just think कि डिसाइड कौन करता है ये तो मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन हम बहुत एक्टिव प्लेयर्स हैं मोरालिटी के फ्यूचर के लिए. I think if we make certain right decisions, we'll open avenues for other people to follow. So I don't really look at who to blame. I am more interested in seeing what we can do to do better, for our future generations.
And what do you think can we do better?
Well, we can promote tolerance. We can promote exposure, enable people in getting more education, in coming out, getting more of a voice. मैं ये बता दूं,
यहाँ पे मेरे पास जो भी आर्टिस्ट आया उसने ये बात जरूर की कि टॉलरेंस और होनी चाहिए.
जी.
क्यों नहीं होती?
क्योंकि familiar space है ना, जहाँ पे आप हैं, you are just comfortable in the little dull kind of situation that you're in because you're surviving. So why not continue what's already working?
So are we comfortable being bigots? Are we comfortable looking the other way?
Not everyone. I think the newer generation is going to change that, in a very large way, and they are. And social media will be a game changer, and it already is. But historically speaking, the transition's been slower.
Do you have hope from the new generation? आपको कोई उम्मीद है कि जो ये लोग दिन के 12 घंटे टिकटॉक देख रहे हैं कोई चेंज लाएंगे?
बिल्कुल. You have no idea how hopeful I am, because their life is more colorful than the previous generations have seen. Whether even if it's false, but in order to continue with that colorful life, they'll have to do something to change the environment.
पता नहीं, मुझे तो ये लगता है खुदा से ज्यादा खुदा के ठेकेदार नाराज हो जाते हैं.
वो तो होंगे ही, उनको कौन पूछ रहा है?
पूछने का मसला नहीं है. किसी ज़माने में वो सर काटते फिर रहे थे, अब जरा शायद कम काटते फिर रहे हो.
लेकिन वो उनका शौक है, वो अपना शौक आजमाने की कोशिश कर ले, हम अपनी दीवारें खड़ी कर लेंगे.
ठीक है. मैंने ये भी देखा है कि उस पार्टी के लोग जो हैं वो फेमिनिज्म की बात सुन के भी घबरा जाते हैं.
अल्लाह का शुक्र है, ये इस मुल्क का और काफ़ी दुनिया का बहुत बेहतरीन फेवरेट लफ्ज़ है. एक वावेला खड़ा करने के लिए.
Of course.
It is the most misrepresented, misunderstood, and misused word, I believe, ever.
वो कैसे जी?
देखिए, लोग समझते हैं कि फेमिनिज्म का मतलब है औरतों को आगे करना और मर्दों को पीछे करना.
नहीं, ऐसा तो कोई मतलब नहीं.
तो आप समझते हैं
जी.
The most that I've encountered is where feminism को वो समझते हैं कि मर्दों को गाली दे रहे हैं. That's not at all what feminism is.
Is that the view taken in Pakistan?
That's the view in a lot of the world, because whatever parts I've traveled in, I've lived in in New York, I've lived in Virginia, and I've lived in Pakistan, and when it's the social encounters especially. We've all known of the glass ceiling. Now nobody wants to talk about that,
right.
But they want to talk about feminism, glass ceiling, boys club, feminism. Let's equalize the gender gap. उसको आप ख़त्म कर दें, बल्कि आप जेंडर्स को इक्वल कर दें. सो दिस इज़ नॉट इक्विवेलेंट टू बॉयज़ क्लब को तोड़ के गर्ल्स क्लब बना दो. ऐसा नहीं है. सो आई थिंक इट्स जस्ट मिसयूज्ड एंड मिसअंडरस्टूड वर्ल्ड वाइड.
मुझे इतना पता है कि पाकिस्तान में तलाक के मसले से लेकर वाईफाई के इश्यूज तक फेमिनिज्म पे ब्लेम होता है.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
क्यों है ऐसा? क्या इज दैट अ इजी गो टू?
देखिए, जैसे जो काम आपने ना करना उसके लिए आप इंशाल्लाह कह देते हैं कि अल्लाह की मर्जी होगी तो होगी, वैसी फेमिनिज्म है. इट्स वन ऑफ दोज intangible things where let's not solve it, let's not see the practicality of things, let's just blame something intangible ताकि बस आप गोल गोल भागते रहें.
बस ये मसला यही, बराबरी का नाम सुनते ही मर्द की गैरत जाग जाती है.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
So, your honest question, is religious thinking a hindrance to the growth of culture in Pakistan?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Listen, philosophically speaking, not at all. But practically speaking, it can be used in ways. We've seen historically over the past 20, 30, 50 years how religion has been misused in,
right.
in political approaches or in other ways. But I don't think there's a problem with religion. I just think it's a problem when you use it as a tool to manipulate people. That's a problem, in my opinion.
And the wrong hands has always been used as a tool.
Exactly. But there are also, the right people as well who are flag bearers, who people follow, who are actual spiritual leaders, without the intent for, malicious acts.
जी ऐसे ही एक फिलोसोफर गुरु टाइप मेरे भी फ्रेंड हैं उन्होंने मुझे कहा था जी कि ये रेजिस्टेंस और कनेक्शन थ्रू आर्ट इज मेनली फॉर द एलीट masses तक भी पहुंचता ही नहीं है इज दैट ट्रू जी
Well, in a lot of ways, yes.
गुरुजी ने सही बोला
गुरुजी ने बिल्कुल सही बोला क्योंकि देखिए वही बात है ना when you don't have exposure, when you don't gain enough exposure, when certain areas are not given the kind of standing where people will be able to approach it, जब वो देखेंगे नहीं उन्हें पता ही नहीं हो क्या रहा है, assumptions are always going to be negative. So जब elite का मतलब जो है वो सिर्फ ये है कि people who are educated enough who know कि इसका flavor क्या है, जिनको पता ही नहीं वो कभी पहुंचेंगे ही नहीं. वहाँ तक कैसे पहुंचाना है ये I think should be a question that needs to be answered.
वहाँ तक कैसे पहुंचाना है?
Media and TikTok is great.
बिल्कुल. अभी आपने जिक्र किया मीडिया, टिकटॉक, इंस्टाग्राम. क्या पाकिस्तान की सबसे बड़ी गैलरी इंस्टाग्राम ही है?
नहीं, दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी गैलरी इंस्टाग्राम है. So पाकिस्तान की एक्चुअली सबसे बड़ी गैलरी इंस्टाग्राम होनी चाहिए soon enough, but it's still getting there.
हाँ जी, फिर वक्त तो नेशनल गैलरी है. But you believe that social media will let new artists reach new audiences?
Oh, absolutely. Nobody visits galleries. Nobody visits museums. I mean, the number of people who visit museums are people who've gone to college, who've been forced by their professors.
Like, the government of Punjab will be very angry अगर आपने ये कह दिया तो because उन्होंने data release किया जो show करता है कि 2016 से 2026 तक in the past 10 years footfall to museums has improved by 25%.
It must have improved by 25% given हमारी population database भी ज़रा undercovered है. लेकिन, the Biennales were the game changers, I believe, because they really opened up public spaces, historical spaces where people would go generally or would at least know of. And they brought art from international artists over there, national art, of course, local artists. But that, I think, is where the footfall has really increased and the exposure has expanded.
But now the criticism भी था जी कि international artists are promoted at the expense of local artists. How did you feel about that?
I don't think so. I just think that when you put up a show as grand as a Biennale or a Triennale, there's everyone on stage. So it depends on you who to focus on. I mean, if it were 80% local artists, we would have gotten the same kind of backlash saying, oh, how is it a Biennale if you don't even have enough international artists? So I just think there's always going to be some correction or the other.
Let's come back to the subject of morality. क्या पाकिस्तान की morality fear-based है? हम इस बात पर परेशान रहते हैं कि लोग क्या कहेंगे?
ये तो सच है. लेकिन फिर आपकी morality जो है वो थोड़ी बदलती भी है because you end up doing what you know has historically not really worked in your favor and you still continue doing it. So उसमें हम नहीं सोचते कि लोग क्या कहेंगे. So I think it's kind of a give and take.
क्या वो famous misattributed quote है कि do you know what the definition of stupidity is?
ये भी सच है, and also the idea of mediocrity can't be the new norm, but that's where, when that settles as the norm, that's where I have a problem with morality.
बड़ी खतरनाक बात की है, is mediocrity the new norm?
I believe that's what people generally want it to be, because when you raise the standards, everyone's going to start working harder. So it's just comfort.
आपने लड़कियों को पढ़ाया और लड़कों को भी पढ़ाया. क्या पाकिस्तानी मर्द इमोशनली ऑनेस्ट होते हैं? क्या उन्हें रोने की इजाजत है?
मेरी नज़र में तो उनको रोने की ज़रूरत है.
ज़रूरत है?
जी.
जब जाके मैं यहाँ से करना शुरू करता.
देखिए बात ये है कि being in touch with your emotions is not a weakness. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's considered a weakness, and that is why I believe a lot of problems in society come up from where you don't have the room to express.
Right.
That's always going to be a problem, and that mostly comes on to men. Even the television dramas or movies today, it's always have one woman crying endlessly.
देखिए जी, पाकिस्तानी ड्रामों में जितनी औरतों पे कलेक्टिव जुल्म हो चुका है ना, मेरे ख्याल में वो सब बख्शी जा चुकी हैं अब तक तो। I mean, वो तो अगले जहान में को इतना अजर मिलना है कि इसका हिसाब ही कोई नहीं।
अल्लाह की कसम। और मैं तो यही सोचती रहती हूँ कि यार मतलब इसके अलावा कोई और स्टोरी लाइन नहीं बिकती। There are things that are changing. There are new storylines that are coming up, and I, really want to, क्या कहते हैं, give them credit for changing the way society is seen over here now. Like catching up with the new generation.
True.
However, it's still a little stunted where men can really express their emotions and where they cannot. I mean, I don't know specifically Pakistan के stats, but I do know कि दुनिया में marriages के rates गिरते जा रहे हैं. It's worldwide. Loneliness is a worldwide problem, not just Pakistan. And it is not just Pakistan that is responsible for this divide between the genders. It's the entire world. I mean, we can't leave the West out when you look at a gender gap, the difference between it. So, no, in my opinion, when you talk about loneliness, it's or you talk about feminism or chauvinism or all of those lovely isms, it's a worldwide problem. And the culture is no longer now limited to a state or a country because of your social media, because of your internet.
It's very hard to talk about a Pakistani life where most of the middle class across the world is living that American life.
Yes.
We all seem to be living the same world. We all seem to be watching the same shows, talking about the same things and, sharing the same news.
Yeah.
आपका एक artwork है, Sugar Coated के नाम से.
बिल्कुल.
How much of your conversation has been sugar-coated?
I think none of it and all of it, in a lot of ways.
Very interesting. None of it and all of it.
Because, we've talked about all kinds of topics which could be sensitive, and yet, dealt with them in ways where it still leaves room for us to expand on the conversation and not just give a dead-end answer.
Are we producing critical thinkers or just people who say, yes, sir, yes, sir?
Oh, not at all. We are totally producing people who have so many questions, which is fantastic. And
so critical thinkers are हमारे पास.
आ रहे हैं. अब वो कितने critical हैं ये सवाल अलग है, लेकिन absolutely, like they're not yes men anymore, because I'm teaching a new generation every year, and every few years and every couple of years you see. Initially, it used to be every 5 years, maybe. Now it's every year you see a change in how expressive, open, forthcoming they all are. And that's fantastic,
And you blame social media for that? Or you give credit to social media for that?
I give credit to social media for that. I give credit to their own confidence levels in terms of seeing each other and picking up from each other.
देखिए जी, मैं अपने अंकल से मिल चुका हूँ, उन्होंने कहा कि आजकल बच्चे बकवास ही इसलिए करते हैं कि सोशल मीडिया है.
ये सच है. बच्चे बोलना ही उसी ज़बान सीखते हैं जो सोशल मीडिया पे होती है. हमारे बच्चे आजकल अंग्रेज़ी ज़्यादा बोलते हैं, उर्दू बोलना भूल जाते हैं शुरू के सालों में. उनको उर्दू सिखानी पड़ती है.
हाँ जी, मगर हमें तो सिखाया गया था क्लास में खामोशी से बैठना.
जी. Exactly that.
और आजकल के बच्चे
खामोश होने से मुनकर हैं.
Good. अच्छी बात है.
Exactly.
What keeps you hopeful about Pakistan?
I think it's always a good thing to look at the upcoming generation and see what all change is coming up with them. Instead of expecting them to be the same as you were, and if they're not following suit, then it's a failed state. I don't think that's the case. In my opinion, change is always great.
आपने बड़ा keyword use किया, failed state. Pakistan पे अक्सर इल्जाम आता है it's a failed state. How do you see it?
कितने 76 सालों से आ रहे हैं?
78 हो गए जी, 80 होने वाले हैं.
बस इतने अरसे से आ रहा है, आगे भी आता रहेगा, मगर हम चलते रहेंगे.
हाँ जी, मगर डर तो यही है कि ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा.
वो तो अमेरिका में भी हर साल आता है कि अब फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस आए या अब यूरोप डूबा.
What future do you imagine for Pakistan?
what my ideal for Pakistan would be that things would work more smoothly, transparently, and in the right direction. What I would actually expect in the next few years is hopeful, promising positivity.
Promising positivity. Actually, I'm going with cautious optimism. Menu dekh lete kya kya cheezein padegi. Miss, do you have any message for the people of Pakistan or for the young people that you teach and educate?
I think as long as they continue to want to grow and keep learning and wanting to be better than they were yesterday, I think we'll be fine and they'll be great.
I hear you. Congratulations are in order. You've just won the NigaahArt Awards for the best curator in Pakistan.
Yes, thank you very much. So it was very kind of the committee to have nominated me. It came as a complete surprise, but it was lovely.
Fantastic, fantastic. And that was for your curation of which gallery, which exhibition?
So this one specifically was based off of the curation projects that I've been working on in the past year, in 2025 as in. So, I mean, previously, I've been curating for many years now, but this one specifically, I think, was based off of Datum, which is a show that is now put up along with IPEX. It's an architects world. Institute of Architects have this expo every year, and every city has a different chapter. And Datum's recently become a part of it, where it is now a bridge between architecture and other fields, whether it's art, engineering, or wherever. So we send out a call to architects and artists and ask them to collaborate, and they bring up these magnificent installations, larger than life. And it's, so, I mean, it's been fun. I've been doing that for a couple of years, and it's been great fun and a pleasure doing it. You should look at the Datum, pictures from the past 2-3 years specifically, where they've played with all kinds of materials, 25-foot high installations that are up for just 3 days, and they're, built in clay, built in just fabric, cotton, but fantastic.
Very well done. Thank you so much, Ji. So kind of you, Ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji.